Hello, Abnormal Investigations. I've got another encounter for you, and this one comes out of Montana. But before I get started, I want to thank all the donations we've received this week. A lot of you have reached out and are making donations to support Bring Hunter Home. The outpouring keeps growing, and we hit 25,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is a small milestone we've just hit. And I want to thank each and every one of you for helping us make that possible. Our channel is now way past the 25,000 and is growing fast, so we're heading up really fast, and the support and donations are heading up really fast, so we thank you all so very much from our family. It means a lot to us, and it's all helping so much in bringing Hunter home, so thank you all so very much. This occurred in 2015. When I worked as a ranch hand, the ranch I worked for had a couple hundred head of cattle on another place that wasn't part of their home ranch. And it was about 10 miles from the area I would usually be working around. It was about 6 in the evening during the spring when I got contacted on the ranch radio. Yes, we still use those out here just in case the cell phone service starts ghosting us. Telling me that no one had been up to check the cattle for a couple of days and to please go do that. I hopped into my 4x4 Ford Ranger and headed out to check the herd. It took me a while to get there, as the last 4 miles of the road was really more of a doubled-up cow trail. Now it was April at this point, and the sun would go down around 7:30, and it was getting close to 7 by this time I made it to the herd. I found the herd all rather close together, like they had been gathered up. Most of the time, cattle do stay in groups, with a few separating themselves here and there, but never a bunch up in a tight group unless something was hurting them, or usually if they were being attacked, they still wouldn't be bunched up like that. I decided to park my truck for a moment, and reaching behind the passenger seat, I grabbed my mag light and my .357 revolver. Quickly throwing on my shoulder holster, I carried it in. I grabbed the smaller headlamp I had in the glove box and placed it in the passenger seat as well. Then I continued driving for a bit towards a stand of brush and trees. That herd seemed to be the most interested in watching. I shut my truck down, putting the keys in the ashtray and grabbing the headlamp on my leather jacket, turning on my mag light. I walked over to the stand of trees. I suddenly got the feeling of something not being as it should, and a being watched feeling. Still, I knew I needed to figure out what was out here. I drew my pistol from its holster and brought back the hammer, so I was ready if an angry bear were to come charging out of the woods at me. Walking farther into the bush, I found a print. It was like a large, slightly deformed dog paw. Moving my light over the expanse of the dimly lit forest before me, looking at the ground with my headlamp for any more signs of disturbance of prints, I mumbled a few self-deprecating words to myself, the last sentence being, "I'm such a dumbass." Then I heard the exact same words repeat. For a split second, it didn't register that it had been echoed, but then, well, I froze. I didn't even finish the step I was in the middle of. I didn't move, or rather couldn't move. I fought with my body and mind, telling myself internally that it wasn't time to be effing around iceberg and to move. But my body wouldn't cooperate. I really did seem like forever came and went before finally, a split second, I spun maglite in hand, headlamp illuminating where I thought the reply came from, and I pointed my gun. Click went the hammer. I almost stroked out and had a heart attack all at once when I heard the click, but not the firing of the bullet. Then, the same moment, I seen something. I say something because as soon as my eyes registered that something was there, it was gone. My hearing told me more. It ran through the bushes off to my left, and as soon as the cracking of the twigs and the rocks under the foot started, they stopped. I snapped back to myself again, quickly pressing the release on the pistol cylinder and inspected the rounds. One of them had a dent in the primer, but it hadn't fired. I pushed the round from the cylinder without realizing it, dropping my maglite to grab one of the 12 bullets on the outside loops of my shoulder holster. Replacing the bullet and slapping the revolver cylinder back in place, I looked up, cocking back the hammer once more. I looked all around me, slowly bending down to pick up my maglite. After realizing I had dropped it, I didn't know what to do. Would running provoke it to chase me? Had it killed any cattle? Did it really repeat my words and mimic me perfectly, or was that just in my head? Questions clouded my mind and are muddled together with the ever louder beat of my heart, and the white noise that comes with the adrenaline rushing through your body. I stood there looking around in a circle for what seemed like forever. It was probably just 5 minutes. Finally a thought broke through. The rest of the flight side of the fight, or flight, took over. And even in my cowboy boots, which I must stress are in no way good for running, I ran from that forest. My hearing had cleared, allowing me to hear that something else was running through the brush behind me. I blindly fired around back into the direction. I never got any indication that whatever it was had slowed down, but it did let out what I can only describe as a supernatural version of a snarled oof, like a beast getting hit in the chest and having some air knocked out of it. I finally could see my truck, and I still could hear whatever it was behind me. Then something made me duck and roll. As I did, I felt air being cut just above my head as I lunged to the side. And when I came back up, the furry mass was before me, and I quickly shot, not aiming for anything in particular, but hitting it. This time I hear a twisted snarl along with the painful yelp and the growl of a hurt dog all mixed together. Then I realized I was at my truck. I flung open the door, throwing myself in and grabbing the keys from the ashtray, starting it and hitting the gas, which of course made it spin out for a moment. That's when something hit my truck, jolting it out of its tire spin and getting me moving, pointing in the wrong direction. I began to turn around as fast as I could, gas all the way to the floor, and I finally hit some rocky ground. The tires took full grip. I got up to about 20 miles per hour, which if you've ever tried traveling down a glorified cow trail, that's way too fast. Anyone had the luxury of being sane would have never gone faster than 5 or 10 down that trail. But I didn't have that. I was scared to death. I just had the shit scared out of me. I was almost to where the trail turned into more of a road, when the beast jumped out in front of my truck. Then before I hit it, it leapt up. It came down behind me. I sped back to the homestead faster than I ever had, and by that time I realized I could have called for help on the radio. I told the rancher that it was massive wolf of some kind, not wanting to sound crazy, and he said he would contact a Federal Forest Service ranger that was a friend of his and ask him to investigate, since it was on Forest Service land and we technically couldn't hunt the beast down. I kept telling myself the rest of the night that it was really just a massive wolf, but I knew better the next day. The Forest Service ranger stopped by and came to talk to me. He asked me the usual about the color, relative size, those sort of things. Then he asked me something I found to confirm my belief, that it wasn't just a wolf. He suddenly looked at me and asked, "Are you sure it was a wolf?" He asked. "Yes," I held to my story. He thought for a moment and then pulled out his phone. "Here, take a look at these pictures. I found this kill site this morning while I was out there looking around those woods. I'm not sure what to make of it, and I have seen some bad kills. I've never seen anything so bloody." He finished. I took a look. The only way I can describe what I saw in a reference that most people can probably understand is the signs of the White Walkers from Game of Thrones make when they make their mark, only turn the blood and gore up to 10 times. Rather than pieces of meat, blood everywhere, like something had played with its entrails. The ranger had taken a short panorama of the site to file with the investigation, and there was blood and internal organs everywhere. He said it had been a cow from what was left. I soon moved to a more safe employment at a retail store. I'm never going to work in the woods again at night. That ended my career as a cowboy. Yeah, that would probably make you reconsider your job. Sometimes it makes you wonder if they're hunting the cows, and when we see them and then we act out against them, if that's what makes them hunt us, or would they hunt us anyways? My personal opinion is they'll hunt us anyways because I believe they're all evil, and That's just my opinion. It doesn't mean that it's factual, of course. It's just an opinion, and everybody has different opinions right now because we know there are no experts in this field. We just have to go by, well, almost anymore, what we personally experience because you can't believe half of the things that are out there right now. I'm glad he made it out of there. I think that whenever we get in situations like that, we need to try to remain more calm because if he would have wrecked his truck, hit a tree or something, and then injured himself, he would have been left at the mercy of the beast. Just remember, getting out of there is the most important thing. And do it as fast but as safe as you can. And that's with anything that you're on or trying to escape. And also, don't just fire your gun into a direction of a sound. Always identify your target and what's beyond your target. I've said that many times, but there are so many people that shoot at sound, and that is one of the most dangerous things you can do. I want to thank each and every one of you for listening to this story and supporting me and hitting the like button. And until next time, guys, keep your head on a swivel, don't be something's dinner, and we'll see you on the live on the solar eclipse coming up. It's going to be a good one, guys. We'll see you then.